Hey Cindy, I was looking at your original file that you sent of your book cover. Um, this is in the discussions area, and then this is the one that you've given me. So I'm guessing this is the reworked one that you're doing. I'm missing your fonts. So when you share an InDesign file, it's always a good idea to do a file package. So you just do file package. And this will package up the fonts and the links, which are the images that you've used, because I'm missing all of your links. I can look at the JPEGs that you provided and the PDF as well for a good idea of what this would look like with the fonts installed. But when doing this, let me just show you really quick. I have another booklet here that they did a package on, so I have the fonts and the links, and I'll show you quickly. This is another booklet that a different student did. But if you do a file package, when you go to share InDesign files, that helps a lot. And it'll get your fonts and your links and your images and print settings and all that stuff. You do a package. And it'll sometimes say you need to save it first. Just go ahead and say save. I'm just going to put this on the desktop. I'm going to name it file package. You could leave it the same name that you have your file named. So put that on the desktop. And then just push save. And it will copy the fonts, the linked graphics. You can include the IDML. You don't necessarily need that. And you can do like a high quality print PDF as well. And it'll create a folder when it does the package. So I did this on my desktop. I'm saving this to my desktop. And I'll show you what happened. I don't know what that error was. It might have something to do with the file, but I will show you what the file package looks like. So typically I named it file package, but typically when you do a package, it'll put the word folder on the end of the folder name, and you'll get a INDD, you got your PDF here, you have all the links that are used in the document, which is really helpful for me so that when I go to open your InDesign file, I'm not missing any of the images, because InDesign is kind of tricky in that it has links. And then the document fonts are here, so I can just quickly install these. I don't know why this is happening. Probably because I already have them installed maybe, but you know, you can install fonts so that you're not missing fonts when you go to actually open up the InDesign file. So she's got some errors in this file. I think there's a few things that need to be fixed. But anyway, that's how you would do a file package. So when you turn in your final for this on Sunday, just make sure to do that file package. And so I'm going to look at your file now. Sorry, my screen recorder is acting kind of weird, but so I'm going to look at your file now. You do have bleeds on here, which looks good. You have the image going all the way to the bleed line. And let's see. Sorry. I'm going to look at the JPEG because I can't see. I think this looks pretty nice. She looks pretty happy. I like the colors are pretty simple. I mean, maybe adding in a little bit more color to the design somewhere would be good, because there's a lot of white, which isn't bad, but sometimes white can look unfinished. So you kind of have to consider that. I think the front cover and this looks pretty good. This text here, looks pretty good. I think maybe like, I don't know, I kind of have a tendency to maybe try this type of justification. I'm in Window, Workspace, Essentials Classic. You can also find it in the Properties panel under Paragraph, but maybe trying Justify with the last line, Align Center, might kind of make it a little bit cleaner. We want to uncheck the hyphenate under paragraph in the properties panel so that we don't have the hyphenations going on, because those are always not good. And it happens by default. This could maybe be bolded, just because it does seem like something that needs to be bolded. I feel like there's almost too much of a space here between these two. So let me see if I can, what's going on there? Okay. So maybe like just bringing that up. If you want a little bit of more of a space, you could still do the leading over here in the properties panel under character. The leading is the space between lines. So I mean, if you want a little bit more, that's fine. But really, this chunk of text all belongs in kind of the same visual space. So this is kind of like almost like a bulleted list here. I wonder if this couldn't be probably something like this, like left justified, or left justified with the last line, justify with the last line aligned left is what I was thinking for this, possibly. And then I do think that there is a bullet area where we can add bullets in InDesign. Under here, actually, in the properties panel, under paragraph, we could probably do that. And then we could take off this, and we would probably have to something like that maybe would be pretty good. I think there's probably too much of a space there. And maybe this isn't justified, right? Maybe it should just be left aligned. And then we just want to make sure that, obviously, this looks like maybe the leading got kind of messed up here. So we can, you know, select all of this and change the leading so that it's all the same. Sometimes that happens when you change things around. What's the leading on this? 19.2. So I'm just going to try and keep it the same. So 19.2 return. So there's kind of there's some issues even now, because now we have some things just on their own here, which I don't like words being on their own like this. I think it doesn't look typically very good. And even these could be like returned maybe. But we could just put like a return. Oops. If we push shift down and push return, it won't give it a new bullet point. And then I'm just going to do a shift return here to get it so that it's not just one word on its own. For some reason I just don't like that when that happens. Also, one thing, you know, maybe highlight these and just make these like 24 for each of the new lines, possibly. And this could maybe be all caps. There is an all caps button here. And this looks like the hyphenate's still on, so we want to uncheck that. I think you have it on justify. Maybe it would look better justify with last line left aligned. And yeah, I think that's what I would do with the text on the back. I might even bring this a little bit up from what we had, maybe even 26, to make it look more purposeful so that it looks like it's not an accident. We want to make it really purposeful looking. And then we'll have to expand that a little bit. But that might kind of clean it up a little bit. How big is this font? So this is 14. You know, that's actually kind of big. This is 16. This is all 16. Okay, we just want to make sure. And this is 18. We could even maybe bump this up to like 20 just to make that contrast even bigger. This is 14 and this is 16, so I would almost say, you know, we could go down to like 11 maybe, although it is looking kind of small. 11 is still a pretty big size though. And I wonder if having her clipped out is the best. I mean, we could put a color in the background that's maybe similar, use the eyedropper tool to that same color that you have on this side. And maybe we could even have it bleed off the page, past the bleed line. And I just used the fill color on this box that she's in. We could even move her over a little bit because her one shoulder is kind of being, I don't know, the shoulder was kind of being cropped, maybe not in the best way. If we push Shift and click on both things, we can align these. This is also in the Properties panel. If we Shift and click and select both, we can align them through the center, which might be a good way to do it. Yeah, there's just kind of a lot of text on the back cover, which is fine. I know books typically have that. And then maybe even adding in a little bit more color would be possibly a good idea. Yeah, and maybe this would be a place where we could, and I'm not saying that this is way better, I just am experimenting with the text on the back just to see if we can get it looking even better. But I think the front cover in this looks good. I just thought this could use a little bit of help. I don't know if that's a ton better. You know, you could try using like an italic on this or a bold italic even. And maybe even this could be like here, and then I'm gonna select, I push Command down to select the layer underneath and just clicked, so you can click through the layers. And then I'm gonna go to Properties. Why can't I? Oh. Go to Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. And this could potentially be white text, just to mix it up a little bit, to add a little bit more variety, because yeah, all the white does tend, did I do this? This isn't the same font that you had it. Well, maybe it was. I don't know. I don't know if I changed the font or not on that. I didn't mean to do that if I did, but I wanted it to be a bold italic, but somehow it got changed. Anyway, it should be bold at least, if it's going to be white on a darker background. Just kind of center it in there. Yeah, and maybe just knock this down so it's centered in that white space. And I don't know if this is exactly where this needs to go, but it could potentially be centered a little bit more too. Yeah, and even this could be possibly centered in the white just a little bit more. And this could be too, slightly, so that this space and this space are the same. The space and that space are basically the same. So yeah, that might actually kind of help a little bit with the design. I'm not sure if you like this bar going all the way across, but it does kind of mimic what you had going on the front cover. Anyway, just some ideas, not necessarily what you have to do. You know, maybe adding in a color on, you know, the same blue on the spine and making this white. Just adding maybe a little bit more color, and kind of dialing in this text on the back cover a little bit more would be helpful. Other than that, I mean, that's all the suggestion I have. You can take it or leave it, but just trying to give a little feedback, a little bit of help with that. Anyway, talk to you later.